Hello, once again, audience. Welcome to another exciting episode in our Touch Designer series, where we're featuring my personal project, Great Balls of Fire, inspired by the Marvel franchise and the song by not by Sneeze, but Jerry Lee Lewis. Excuse me, I sneezed. Um, so yeah, we're going to be featuring that song. Not featuring that song today. But yeah, so welcome to my room. It's a little bit messy right now. I have random boxes everywhere and you know how the cookie crumbles. Um, but anyway, so basically what we will be showing you today is my project. If you guys have checked it out on Brenner 2, I'll link it in this video as well. My again, this was one of the touch designer projects I did in college where we had to come up with our uh own unique thing. And I was like, my professor had showed us this cool painting thing that he did, and I'm like, that's cool and all. And I'm like, what if I could give myself fireballs for hands and like fight like an avatar and stuff? Um so that's what I did. I came to him with the idea. He helped me figure out the mechanics of it, and this was the brainchild. So before, I don't know if you'll be able to hear me properly, so I'll have to explain it to you and then show you because my microphone is very away um from my camera right now, and the camera I'm using is a modified Kinect, which you guys can look up. If you modify a Kinect, it's a very useful depth camera, not death camera. I mean, I guess if you're smart enough, you could make it into a death camera, but I don't know why you would, unless you really got an axe to grind with somebody. But anyway, so this is our project. So, I think it's just you. Okay. So all I did was hit U on my keyboard. So let's bring this a little bit closer, just so we can make it easier for you guys to see. Alright, so basically what I am doing is I am taking the information from my Kinect. This is the information. I'm plugging it into this, which this is one of the comps, where it's basically a container, and it contains basically everything I'm doing to make the fireballs. So this is the fireballs, and then this is basically my video. So I'm using a real world scenario and overlaying it with special effects in a virtual object. And then this comp right here you see is different from the one we used. It's not the same as this. It's one of the tops. So the purple at the tops, and this has nothing. These two are unrelated. All this stands for is composite, which means it's basically putting together my real world image from my Kinect and my virtual image from my fireballs and putting them together in the same scene, allowing for this to work. Then we just put it out to a null, which is just basically, it doesn't really do anything. It just shows you what the previous top does, or previous node does. And then we put it to an out, so we can just hit perform in there. Alright, so I know you guys are probably itching. Alright, Danny, how do I make cool stuff? Well, let me tell you, little Jimmy. Alright, so we have it in, and this is what's plugging in from the Kinect chop that you saw. And this is basically a select, letting us know that we only want so the selects lets you select out what specific parts, because when this is on, it displays a whole bunch of information, and you're like, well, I only need one thing. That's when you use the select, and then you put that out to a null. So we're only using stuff from player 1. So then you take that, and we're getting all the axes, because if it's only 1 or 2, you have your left and right, up and down, and then your 3D. With your z-axis is up and down. It's z-axis is like x is like left and right, and then y is up and down, but like it's more like z is more like your vertical axis, and that's what makes it three-dimensional. So we take our hand 1, we make one for the left hand, and then we just have these reference through the different chops, so it tells us our information. And then you make one for your right hand. Excuse me, I just ate. I should have probably had a water before I did the second video. And we're just having it reference these different things. I did forget to tell you in the last part. So, you see these green lines here? That means that this one is connected to this. And, basically that you just, if I were to disconnect it, I would just need to plug it in right here. So the greens go with the greens, the purples go with the purples. But you can't plug a green into a purple. Certain ones you can reference, and that's what we're doing. Like, we're having the geo reference these ones right here. And then, like, the comps can go into the material, or I forget what the sops. And then, like this Fong, well, I have to turn this on, but this Fong is basically blue, and it's telling it to reference that, making the shape I want blue. And then you just plug that into there, and your geo, and the camera references the geo, so it knows what to look at. The light references the render, so we can tell it to basically, hey, this is what I need you to show me when it renders out. And you add a bit of blur, so it's not as wonky. Null it out. And then we want a feedback, because basically, the things disappear after a while. And we'll show you that sometimes this can be a little wonky, and the fireball will just stay on the thing. And we'll show you in a little bit how to basically make that work. So we'll level it out, put it into a blur, and then we'll have a trace. Then we'll comp it, null it, and out. And that's basically the fireball. So we'll have 2 of these, one for the left arm, one for the right. So you don't need 2 circle nodes. Basically, right up here, as you can see, is FPS. So anybody that knows, FPS is how many frames per second this is showing. So really, you only need 1 circle. This circle can plug into as many materials as I need it to. But if, say, I needed, we'll see in the later project that we'll have more than 1 material. If you want more than 1 circle on one certain spot, you need to have its own material. And if you want that, say, 1 material to be blue, 1 material to be red, you need to have a Fong for that individual material. Alright, so that's basically it. So we have a red and a blue orb. And that's basically it. So let's go back up. So I'm going to step away from my microphone and kind of show you guys what I mean with all this. Because I know, like me, I'm a visual learner. So, like, I can explain the technical things. Like, that's great and all, Danny, but I want to see, you promised us fireballs. I want to see some fireballs. And I'm like, alright, little Jimmy, I'll show you some fireballs. So I will be right back. So as you can see by my little demonstration that I watch way too many kung fu movies, you can see it's a little wonky. The you have to there's certain like chops you can go into for your information, and you just gotta fine tune it really to get the tracking just right. But the effect was very desirable, and we got it to what we wanted. Um, of course, I could go in and make the fireballs bigger if I wanted to. Um, it's really like at first they'll seem like just big old circles, but in certain aspects you can get different ones. So that was great and all. Once I had this, I was happy. But then I got thinking, I'm like, well, I went back to my professor and watched his video on that paint thing again that I was telling you guys about. And he showed us that there's different hand signs you can make to change the colors. So basically, there's 3 different hand signs in Touch Designer that the program recognizes. There's open hand, which is just a flat hand. There's closed fist, which is you just make a fist, and then there's lasso, which you just make a peace sign. And I wanted to be able to switch colors because, I mean, I've watched a lot of comics, watched a lot of anime, and they always have different hand signs, like in Naruto, to do different things. And each one has different meanings. So, let's go back to our project and let's open up version 2. No, we do not need to save before we quit. There's my OBS again. Say hi, OBS! Oh, wow, this is already a 12-minute video. I'll buckle up, because it's about to get wild. I think one of these we can skip. Alright. So this one took, so my professor was very nice, and he helped us a lot. He helped us a lot with extended office hours. He's a really nice guy, and he's a very talented artist. He makes a lot of cool stuff that makes my stuff look, just terrible. Let's just leave it at that. But he's a very smart guy, so this one was a little bit tricky. So what I wanted to do with this is, as you can see, there's 4 different colors. We have red, green, blue, and then black. Now, in the digital realm, black means transparent. So, we had an issue with this project where we're like, well, the fireballs kind of just stay on the middle of the screen when not in use. So, to make it easier on the transitions of going through the different hand signs, we added a black fong so it would end up being transparent when switching. So you wouldn't, like, it would make it a little bit more seamless. So this one we introduced the switch, which basically tells it to, hey, I need you to use this one and then switch to this when I do something different, and then vice versa. Put that out to a null. And then we had the fongs, put that to a switch, put that out to a null, and then had it reference the materials, and then the geo, and then the circles. And then we had the basic same thing we did last time, where it's like the light, the camera, the blur, all that, and then here's our information. So we had to have 3 different information, but what made this project different was we had to use a data chat, or data top, or data op. And basically, this is basically your text things. You can use it to write codes and whatnot. So we had to write our own special code for these to and the reason I have all these turned off is it's not that they're turned off, it's more like it saves me on frames per second because it's not in use. So I go over here and I just hide the viewers so it doesn't like show me that, and it doesn't discount my frames. But yeah, so we had to write a value or a different thing for this. And we had to write a special code so it would actually know to switch between the 4 different values. We originally tried to get it 3, and then it just was not taking it. So we had to use Python coding, which this is what Touch Designer basically runs on, is Python code. Which it's a more simpler form of coding for those that like know coding. It's not C++. It's a little hard to learn, but I mean, if you're like me and have never touched code in your life, it's basically a good place to start. I mean, I wasn't very good at it, but eventually I got the hang of it. So we just did our basically select mass, tell it what to calculate, and then lags just to slow it down a bit, and we best rendered it out. So like I said, this one is different because, well, first we gotta turn the borders off. Borders is just like the square around this, and then the opening size I'm setting it to fill, so it fills my entire screen. It's different from you guys, but since I'm capturing this on video, it's different. Alright, so I'm going to step away from my computer again, and I'm going to show you guys what exactly I mean. So I will be right back. I will show you guys first, the open hand, which is just your, flat palm, the closed fist, which is just a fist, and then, the lasso, which is the peace sign. So, I'll show you that, and then we'll come back. Alright, so as you guys saw, it's not perfect, but it's a step in the right direction for what eventually would become my greatest creation ever, and basically my pride and joy, and I can't wait to show you guys. Alright, so after this, I was not happy with it. After I spent all that time, I'm like, alright, that's great and all, but I'm like, why limit myself to 3 colors? So I was playing around with it, and remember how I told you guys about the referencing? Like this, as you can see, this comp is referencing the feedback. So I had the idea of, I went into the diffuse, and I'm like, okay, I have RGB, and you're probably wondering, what does that mean? Well, RGB is the level of light, and how basically light works. Different colors are a mixture of these 3 elements, at least in the digital realm. I don't know, I'm not really that smart where I know that's the way. I know there's like RGB, and then there's like CMKY, which is like a printer color. I think that's ink. I think ink and light are different though. So let's go on to our third project. Alright, quit. I don't need to save. This video is about going on 20 minutes. That's good and all. Alright, so I think, I'm not 100% sure. me see this. RGB. Okay. So I think I may have skipped one, but this, when I organized these, I don't think I did it right, but this will work anyway. So this is version 3. So I went back and I'm like, well, this is version 3 and 4. So, I went back and I thought about it, and I was like, I don't really want to limit myself to 3 colors. So I went back to my original project, and we went back to version 1, and like Iron Man, I started from the very beginning. I looked at my project and I said, how am I gonna affect the different things? So I was playing around and I was referencing. I looked at the RGB scales and I'm like, what if my motion can track like the level of scales? So depending where I move around the room, it could change the colors automatically. That way, be like, well, I don't want to limit myself just to red, blue, and green. So what I did was, as you can see in that long, I have referenced these nulls. So basically, it's tracking my hand. And it's basically telling the difference between red, blue, and green is where my hand's at. So the information is affecting the color. So it's basically the same thing as the original project. So I don't really have to show you guys too much, but this version was called Rainbow Fireballs, and you'll see in a minute what I actually mean. The reason that there is a 2-player one is we had a project where we needed to test out our projects on like people around campus and like actual civilians. So I made a 2-player version of the game where it's dueling rainbow fireballs, and that was supposed to be number 4, but I figured for this demo it could probably be version 3. It's like dueling fireballs is version like 3.5. So there's that. Alright, so let's go ahead and hit perform. We'll just full screen it for now, and I'll see what you guys mean. Alright, so as you guys saw, when I moved my hand different positions around my room, the colors changed automatically. So that's really what I was trying to achieve in this project, and it proved a great success. But once again, we can always go bigger. So I got creative and went back to my old projects in the interactive object, and I was looking at it and I'm like, wouldn't that be nutty if I like, because I love anime, as I've said, and I remember watching My Hero Academia and Baccano, how like his fire like just gets bigger and bigger, it seems, the more they yell. So I'm like, well, I want that. So I went back to the original project and I was like, well, here you go. So I combined. Oh, wait. Okay. Yeah, I think this is the same thing. Yep. Alright, same project. Never mind. Alright, so I think that was. I meant to. I know what I did. I saved that as what are we on? Version 4? Alright, so we'll go to version 5. I saved that as a thing and I meant to delete player 2. So it's the same project. Like I said, I already explained it. I should have just went through these projects better. Alright. So we went back to, and as you can see, we went back to the second project. And as you can see, it's really working well. As you can see, the brightness is getting more bright. I think this is synesthesia. So I combined stuff from the interactive object, as you can see here, and put it into uh, a lot of the different things we had. So basically, now the size of the fireballs is being dictated by, I think this is the one I want that can show you. No. Right, the roughness is being dictated by the amount of audio I'm putting in. So right now it's if I get real quiet. It's kind of settling down, but you can see in here it's kind of freaking out. Alright, so that's all fun and games. So let's see what that looks like when you combine it. So as you can see, I'm a big nerd, and it gets really fun. That was my favorite part. That's my favorite part of the video. So yeah, so our roughness, the more we put in the sound, the more the fireball grows, and basically explodes in my face. Which is always fun. All right, so now this, I took all that. I couldn't. Now this project I made before I found out I could do the sound and roughness. However, depending on the license, depending on, like, Touch Designer is free. It's a free program, for developers. You can go find it right now and download it. But depending on the license you get, which is non-commercial, which is free, you may be limited into, like, the audio sources that you have. Like, I can only have, I think, 1 or 2 audio sources. So I couldn't effectively do this to my final project in the final version of this thing. So this, this is the granddaddy of the Great Balls of Fire, and it's in the finale of the video we did. So you're looking at this, and you're probably wondering, Danny, what is that? Well, oh Jimmy, let me tell you that this is Great Balls of Fire fire suit, and it is, yes, it is a monster. So here, let me show you real quick. All right, I think this. No, I want the select. So as you can see, all these things are different things that you can select. And I was playing around with this one day, and I made one for my arms, but I also realized that you could make one for my body. So I was playing around with that, and I was like reverse engineering my original Fireball project. And I basically came up with the entire fire suit, which I'm going to have to move the camera so you can actually see it. Let me see. Hang on. Let me go into perform mode real quick. It's going to be hard to see, but hopefully. We'll just put you back where you were. Alright. But I reverse engineered it and made separate containers for different parts of my body. I have my left arm, my right leg, my left leg, and then my body. All of these So basically, you're seeing this is one container, and that times that by about 5. So as I told you, each material needs its own geo and then its own fong. And basically, what I did was I took all my projects and put them together. I took the rainbow fireballs, I took my original fireball project, and I spread it throughout my entire body. And it was something to behold. Um, so this is just one container. A container is very great if you have like all this. Imagine 5 of these all on one screen. You wouldn't be able to find anything. So containers are just a neat way to organize all of your nodes if you're doing a big massive project like this one. We all put this out to a null. It's all the same things. The only thing I've added is a mirror, which mirrors my movements. So if I lift my arm up, you'll see a reflection lifting it down. And it makes for quite a cool effect. And then we composite all of this into one composite. We have our connect video feed compositing as well. And then we out to a null, and then out and then just out to an out so we can have it perform. So this is the fire suit. So let me show you guys what I mean. Alright. It's hard to see on my desk, but yeah, it's pretty fun. Especially when you can actually see yourself in full. Well, hang on. I think if I move you like this, if I move it that way, we might be able to see it. Just move in front of here. Push you back a little. This can. Alright, so now you can kind of see it a little bit better. Actually, I think this. Oh! The sound does work. Oh, cool. So, yeah, I can make it control my entire screen if you guys want. But, yeah, that's the fire suit. I mean, there's not really much left to it. Alright, guys. Well, that was Great Balls of Fire. A second video in our Touch Designer series. I'm gonna record a couple more of these, and then I think I'm gonna do a live stream later today, hopefully. So with that being said, thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys in the next video.